today we're exploring a topic that every business owner should embrace, and that is using AI to augment your business potential. To help me dive into this topic, I'm joined by the fabulous Marnie Wills, founder and CEO of SportyMinis and an AI trainer and consultant. Marnie is obsessed with making AI adoption fun, practical, and non-techie. A multi-passionate entrepreneur and international athlete, and she's on a mission to transform how we implement AI into our daily lives and businesses. Marnie believes that AI can make us all superhuman, helping us to reclaim work-life balance through intuitive workflows that boost efficiency as well as creativity. Welcome, Marnie, and thank you so much for joining the show.
Thanks so much for having me. That's an epic introduction. I'm really excited about today's conversation.
Fantastic. It's so great to have you. To kick us off, can you share your incredible journey from being an international athlete to an entrepreneur to now an AI strategist and consultant? And I'm really curious to understand what's the passion behind this AI? Where's the drive come from?
Yeah, sure. So 20 years ago, I moved over from Australia as a right PE and science teacher. I had the privilege to play international touch rugby for England as well as England netball. Fast forward a few years, and I decided to start my own business in sports education, and that is SportyMinis. And I was the entrepreneur who literally used to outsource anything tech related. I didn't think I was very techy at all. And actually, when you're starting a business, that digs into your profits. And all of a sudden, it can really change the direction of a business very, very quickly. COVID hit. I learned all things online business during that time. And I became very obsessed with social media marketing, because that's how we were kind of reaching our audience. And that's where all the parents for the SportyMinis children were hiding out during lockdown. And then that's where I discovered a tool called Jasper AI, which is a copywriting tool. That was in early 2022 before ChatGPT came out. And I have to say, it completely changed my mindset as a business owner. It increased my confidence. I was able to implement a few other different AI tools at that time as well. And I just felt like I was actually in control of my business for once and the direction in which it was going. And then I guess fast forward to where we are today, and SportyMinis has gone really well. I've turned my franchise model into a business partnership model, and I'm obsessed with all things AI tools. And I've managed to streamline many processes within the SportyMinis business. And since end of 2024, I've also managed to work with quite a few other SMEs to help with their AI workflows as well. And I think why I'm so passionate about it is, again, I didn't feel like I was very techy, and I really did feel sometimes a little bit, maybe in business life, a bit of imposter syndrome, a bit of, is business really going to work? And then all of a sudden, these tools are at your fingertips, of which you can have a thought leader partnership in your AI tool. You can all of a sudden write like an expert copywriter. You can streamline so many processes. And for me, it's about productivity. And I really love to share that passion with anyone that will listen.
Perfect. So you find, as you were talking there, it sounded like you found AI tools that complement your existing skill set, and it's like sort of push you up the other level.
Yeah, 100%. So I think a big myth around the use of AI is it's going to sound really AI and not authentically you, and everyone's got AI content, but actually the way that you can use AI is like a collaborator, and we as humans are the domain expertise. We have the experience in our business, in the services, and what we deliver, and all of our knowledge, and our knowledge is ongoing. Like, we will learn something from each other in this conversation, which adds to our domain expertise. AI won't learn that, and instead it's our collaborative partner. And I believe we need to use generative AI tools to help get all the ideas we've got in our brain out, and often put it into logical sequences, or just generally help us be more creative in our daily lives and within business.
Yeah, I agree. I also use AI tools in various forms as well, and I do find it helps I'm an entrepreneur as well, and I have all these thoughts and vision and ideas running through my head millions miles an hour, and I just I'm really, really busy. I have something to get out to do, and it's like, where do I start? And so you start ChatGPT or something, sort of, you have all these thoughts and you put it in, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, now I'm running. So you full steam in my head, you're like, what is, that's what I'm talking about. So it helps organize me And for me,
100%.
that's the sort of the value that I get in my day today. Helps me to organize my activities and my thoughts. So it's still my ideas and my vision, but it's helping me execute it, which I love.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as for any working parents out there, the mental load of running a family and then maybe running a business, and then you've got different hats on within your business, it's a lot for us to do. And normally what happens is overwhelm creeps in and then out goes all our creativity. But we know we're the experts. And actually that's a great way to collaborate with.
Definitely agree 100%. And we spoke previously, and you mentioned that, and you touched on it just now, for an entrepreneur where it's important to have the right mindset when you're thinking about adopting AI. So not just in your professional life, but also personal life. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so I think the mindset for adopting AI tools is, it's not what can AI do for me, or why would I want to use AI when it takes me a little while to learn, a new tool. You need to think, I believe that you need to have the mindset of opportunities, and AI can create many opportunities for you. And actually, it's all about asking the right questions, or all about using AI to even help ask you the right questions. So not even asking AI the right questions, but instead you saying to your AI assistant, I like to call them AI assistants. And just an example today, I need to write a newsletter for my LinkedIn. Here are some of the things I've learned in the last week. Ask me more thought-provoking questions to help me elaborate on these tasks or these principles that I'm talking about. And then it will ask me more questions, which will allow me to think back to all of the learning experiences and opportunities I had last week related to AI, that will go, oh yes, great, that will be great for my newsletter readers. And it is about the questioning. So you need the mindset to have it's more than a growth mindset. It's kind of like, I feel like it's like an abundance mindset of, I just be super curious about what AI can actually do for you today, in this time, right here, right now, being present.
Abundance mindset. I like that. I normally go with the refer to growth mindset, but it's maximizing your potential. Like, I do this now, and then tomorrow or next year, how far will it help me get? How quickly? Interesting.
Yeah. And when you said maximizing potential, I'll give you a life example as well. During the February half-term holidays, we were going to Rome, and I could have spent hours looking at sites for kid-friendly activities to do in Rome. But instead, I just gave a couple of different AI tools a task, and ChatGPT was one of them, Perplexity was another. And I just said, this is our holiday. These are the ages of my children. This is what I think we like doing. Find us activities to do and explain why my children will like them. So it's kind of just it's just giving your AI assistant personality, like they're your not little assistant, but like they're your helpful, life assistant. And talk to your AI like it as well, because you wouldn't say to your human assistant that you've got, do XYZ for me without adding any type of personality.
Without context. Yeah. I agree. I think it's like a smart assistant on your shoulder all the time. So it sort of knows what you're up to if you allow it, and then it can just help you up. By the way, this, by the way, that. And I love that you mentioned context, because I think that's quite a key. I think that applies to personal and professional tasks. So that's really, I have a holiday coming up. I haven't planned. It's in a few days. Thank you for the tip. Appreciate it.
You're so welcome. And actually, since February, we've taken it to the next level, and there's now deep research. So you can do a whole deep research on wherever you're going and what you want to do. So next level.
Fantastic. So you've touched on it already as working parents, and anybody who's working, the concept of work-life balance being an ongoing challenge for many of us, not just entrepreneurs. Can you share some examples other than the holiday trip planning, in terms of how AI can help entrepreneurs to sort of reclaim their time and create more meaningful, balanced lifestyles?
Yeah, sure. So I think I'll back up a little bit and start with the mental load that we talk about. So I put quite a few AI workflows in place to help me reduce mental load, which therefore allows me to I guess, just be more present when I'm with my children or even when I'm in meetings, because I've offloaded quite a lot of the tasks already. So one is you can use ChatGPT tasks, where you give it a task and it goes off, and every time you set it. So for example, I have a Monday motivation post that I send my staff members in a WhatsApp, and it automatically goes off. I've customized it to go off, and every Monday it gives me an email with 5 different motivational quotes that I can put in. First of all, that's gone off and done the research for me, so it's already saved me 5-10 minutes. Secondly, I don't have to think about that task every week. And third, I get a bit of a choice, and I go, yeah, this is cool, and then I can always save it for another one, and then that task is kind of done. So that's just an example of tasks. Personal task is exactly the same. I have a GPT trains on what my children like to eat, all the recipes. I take a picture of my fridge and I say, what food is left? How can I make food? Just really quick, simple things like that, really, that just make decisions quicker. You've got a lot of decisions to make as a business owner, all the time thinking. So just trying to offload a little bit like that. So mental load from that point of view, I think we can almost do tasks a lot quicker and of better quality. And the way that I like to think of this is I always have an AI meeting, take a note taker, and I always have a task set up so it transcribes and it automatically goes to 2 of my AI assistants. So I've got this almost personal brand chat going that keeps getting, so even the conversation that we had last week, goes into my thought leaders, my brand voice, like all the things I like to talk about. So if I need to go and write a LinkedIn post, or I just generally need to think, gosh, I did speak to someone last week about this exact topic. Who was it? And you're constantly thinking, I just go back to my AI assistant and I say, I remember speaking about mindset in AI. How many times did I talk about this last week, and who did I talk about it with? 2 examples.
Oh, wow. And I think I guess the point on mental load is quite important, because all these things you're thinking about, it's sort of taken away quite a lot of that extra thought or stressful thoughts. Let me rephrase that. The stressful thought, so you can have more clarity on things that are useful. That's sounds like a potential mitigation for on the road to burnout. Just think.
I think, and sorry to interrupt, I think also another thing to think about, which helps me bring back work-life balance, is when I close my laptop at night, I can actually almost switch off, because I feel like my AI tools have really supported me that day. And what I mean by that is I have quite a few AI assistants that are like my project assistants, or I've even got one called my board of directors, where I have like some famous business people, Stephen Bartlett being one, Mel Robbins being another, Oprah being another. And I've done some research on their content and the way that they speak, and I've trained my AI to give me advice from their perspectives. And in business, I think one of the, especially if it's very solopreneur or very entrepreneur, sometimes you can feel lonely and you can kind of feel like you're not supported and you're questioning your decisions. And actually, I use my AI tools a lot to help me feel, again, confident, but also just feel supported, because I have my own little business coaches there, right? So when I close that laptop, I definitely feel like work is done. And I've been an entrepreneur now for 11 years, and it's the first time I've actually felt like that.
Amazing. And you touched on something there. So all this sort of connecting and sending information to your assistants, is it part of what you talk about when you say you're training AI to sound like you? Is that related?
Yeah. So the first thing to do when you're training your AI to sound like you is to customize how you would like your AI to respond to you, and how you like to prompt it. I always have in both. So the 2 main AI tools that I use, of which I have projects and assistants in, is ChatGPT and Claude. I do have some projects in Perplexity. They're called Spaces. And I do have Notebook LM, of which I have notes as well. But these are my core 2 ones. And I have given my AI tools lots of content that I've written myself, lots of company documents like our brand mission, our frequently asked questions, our sales strategy. All of those have gone into these documents. So I've already trained these AI to know all about me and my business and how I like to talk. I then give custom instructions. So every time I'm asking a prompt, or I'm asking AI to complete a task for me, it always gives me 2 clarifying questions. Because again, remember I said, it's not about what the AI can do for you. It's almost like the questions you ask it will allow it to give you an output. So I know that my first prompts in aren't always enough context or enough examples, or we're human. We think we want something, but actually we want something else. Like my partner says, what do you want for dinner, curry or Thai? And I'm like, curry. And then he goes, okay. And I'm like, no, Thai. Like you don't know what you want until someone tells you it's not what you want. So I train my AI to always ask me 2 clarifying questions, and then that allows me to give more information, and therefore you get better output, because lots of people go, oh, AI doesn't give me very good stuff, and I'm like, well, hate to say it, but garbage in, garbage out. The request you want in, versus what you get out. So that's how I've kind of trained AI to sound like me and give me what I need it to do. And then the next thing is setting up your projects or your custom GPTs, which are the AI assistants you've got. So we've got plenty. We've got LinkedIn. Each of my staff have their own personal GPT for their LinkedIn. We've got a sales GPT, which is trained on we did a sales training. I've got my project assistants, like I said. I've got my board of directors. I've got my own, I call it my EA, executive assistant. So I've just trained these projects, as they're called, with all the information about me and my business and what I need from it.
Great. I mean, and you touched on something there where you have it ask you clarifying questions to make sure you get to the right output. That's like in human to human collaboration, where if someone's helping you on a project, you give them a brief and then you spend some time making sure that the brief is understood and it's that we all agree what the output should be. So that's no different.
That is a very professional way to put it, and I love it. Smarter than me.
Thank you. So what have you seen as the biggest barrier to adopting AI?
Well, we covered it, mindset around what it can do for you and being techie. I had a slight conflict with a lady in a networking group who basically said, oh, you're techie as well, just like the website lady, so you can't be in the same group. And I thought, gosh, AI, there's nothing techie, there's nothing like that, but it's a whole lot of education around that needed. I often refer to, the adoption of AI as the adoption of using your smartphone. If anybody is old enough, if any of your listeners are old enough, 2018-ish, 19 is probably when we adopted, I moved from my BlackBerry to a smartphone, and BlackBerry. And it was hesitation at first. You didn't want to try anything new. You didn't think that you needed all the apps that the smartphone brought, but fast forward 17 odd years and here we are, and nobody doesn't have a smartphone. So it's going to be the same with AI. It is not a trend. It is the new language. The way we are able to use AI is the new language or literacy skills that we need to stay ahead of the game. So your question was around, sorry, can you repeat the question?
The question was around barriers, and I think you sort of explained into it where there shouldn't be that many barriers anymore, because from where I'm sitting, I feel like AI is here, it's in our tools, it's in our businesses already. I read a report where people are using it even if they don't have permission to, from a corporate perspective, but they're using their personal email and paying for ChatGPT. Some of them are putting confidential information in ChatGPT that that they haven't accepted or talked about the policy in the companies. And then there's tools that we use every day that are very quickly, they're having some element of AI already coming in without you doing anything. Some of them you have to pay for, some of them to just a new feature. Oh, you can do this now. So I don't feel like it's a barrier anymore, because it's here and it's in your day-to-day life anyway.
Yeah, there's definitely data security issues amongst companies and, IPs. But I think all businesses and even solopreneurs, I do think we need like an AI policy. We just need to be really transparent. We are using AI tools. This is, what we're using, especially if you work with clients. And, I did a training with some VAs the other week, and it was like, they think I'm doing things quicker and ripping them off, and, and they feel like they're cheating the system because they're doing a task in 20 minutes that would normally take them 2 hours. But, and I just said, look, I would expect that any smart business owner will realize that you can do your job faster, better quality, and you can really understand their business better with AI tools. So just be really transparent with it, that you're using, AI, and also ask about their data protection. And there's lots of different ways that you can use tools. So ChatGPT, you could use a Teams to keep enterprise to keep your data safe. There's something called hidden GPTs. Gemini now, you can turn off any data and activity saving. So there are definitely ways to do it. You got to look into it a little bit more, but there is definitely ways to do it. And then I think probably the last barrier is a little bit of overwhelm, because like you said, AI is kind of everywhere, and we're using it without realizing we're using it. I mean, it's on our phones now. I was even in X during the week, because I was at a marketing conference, and we were talking about social search. So X now has Grok embedded, which is Elon Musk's AI. So when you go and post on X, if you click on the person who posts, that it analyzes the whole post. It gives you all the links to anything that they referred to in the post. It gives you the links of. So I was working with an early years consultant, and we click on her and her whole website comes up, and LinkedIn up. So there's the search in itself. And Perplexity is in talks with TikTok for them to collaborate. We know that social search is in TikTok. People go to TikTok to search things, and Perplexity is now going to be linked. Well, it's not signed on the dotted line yet, but I'm pretty sure Perplexity and TikTok are going to be working together, and we're just going to be using AI like in Meta, in Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We use it socially anyway. It's on our phones, our Google Maps. It's everywhere. So it can sometimes be a little bit overwhelming if you don't understand generative AI tools and what they can do for you, really.
Yeah, exactly. I think now, given that it's everywhere anyway, it's a great chance for people to understand what they can do for you, how they can add value to you and your clients, and also, as you mentioned, in terms of data privacy and data security, just understand what are the implications and what policies you should have in place to make sure you're as protected as you can be. So speaking of overwhelm and adoption within small businesses, for example, I know a lot of owners I've spoken to and founders where they struggle between trying to get this balance of course, you want to leverage AI for efficiency and productivity, but you want to maintain that human touch. I do want to maintain a human touch. How do you do that?
Yeah, really good question. I don't know the answer, if I'm completely honest, but what I will say is the more that you can, either as a leader in a business or just generally, if you've got staff with you, the more that you can have that, what I call role model leadership. So you are using AI, what you think is an ethical way, maintains your company personal brand voice, also includes your domain expertise, but you also super open for AI to be able to assist you and have that abundance mindset of, what can AI do for me? If you're super transparent with that, of saying, look, we've got the expertise, we know how to do what we're doing, but let's try and do it faster, more efficient, and let's try and be super creative in the way we use AI. I think that's going to really drip down within your teams, and I think your business will definitely be able to stay above every industry is completely changing. So I think the landscape's changing for all businesses. So I think if you can, as the leader, really have those three principles in place, you are really you're setting yourself up and your business up, to be successful in this new technological revolution that we're going through. And I think a really big thing is we talk about, I'm in the education field, as you know, we talk about AI in education, but I think we're thinking about it wrong. I think it needs to be the education of AI, because AI came to us, ChatGPT, and we all didn't know how to use it for how long. I mean, how many people have bought, I know I bought libraries and libraries of prompts, because I thought I needed to learn how to prompt, and prompting is quite difficult. Or, I could buy a library and I could have 1,000, prompts for marketing, and, I don't use them. To be fair, I did use them at the start, but this is where I think constant use of AI has allowed me to really work out my style. And again, that mindset of, what can it do? Being super curious, can it answer this question for me, rather than giving it a prompt that tells it what to give me? I want it to almost be really open to what it is allowed to, of the outcome it's allowed. So we do need the education of AI to be at the forefront of all leaders' minds, because it is a tool that, or it's a new technology that we've really not been taught about, and it's going to take a while to learn all the nuances around AI. I mean, just on through the weekend, there's been a whole lot of nuances in some generative AI tools that I've got to catch up on today, and that was only in 2 days. So it's forever changing, and how you use AI tools, what you can use it for, it's going to be endless for 5 to 10 years until it becomes the iPhone that we all use, know, and love.
Exactly. And the education of AI, and I think it's exactly that, because it's I call it the revolution because it's changing so quickly that this is getting better and better and better and better and better, and it can do this now. And it's like every day there's a new something. So I think I approach it in the way I approach any startup that I advise, in terms of the whole point of what we're putting out is, okay, what adds value to customers? And the same thing for me, it's like, well, I do exactly what we use such as in terms of, I'm like, how can it help me? Not necessarily me learning about it because it changes every day. How can it help me solve a problem? How can it solve my problems? And for me, it's like, I'm purely output based. Yes, it can do this fantastic thing today, it couldn't do last week. And does it fix bottlenecks I have? Yes, no, then I'll keep looking. So I think that's the right approach. The education of it.
Yeah, and I really like your thought on that as well, because we say in the personal development field about, being the next version of yourself. What got you to where you are now is not going to get you to where you want to be next. So it's the same in business. What got you to where your success is now is not going to be, and especially in this new landscape, what you need to do to get to the next level. And I think the more we use AI on a day-to-day basis with anything and everything that we can be curious to think that it can help us with, is going to allow us to step up into that next version. So you're totally on the right path there with the outcomes it can give you.
Thank you. Any final tips you want to leave with our listeners? So there's so many fantastic nuggets you shared already.
Okay. Well, definitely want to clarify, we want to train AI to sound like us, and we want to create our AI assistants, and we want to have our curious, abundant mindset. I would say probably set yourself up to have maybe 1 or 2 newsletters that you follow that come into your inbox that teach you about the nuance in how to use some AI tools. Maybe put it aside to watch 1 or 2 YouTube videos. If you're into business and marketing, there's a really good one called AI Explored. Highly recommend that one. And then, so find 1 or 2 YouTubes that you want to follow religiously. They normally put out, 1 or 2 videos a week, just to try and stay ahead, because it can feel overwhelming. And a lot of the advice you get is like, we should try, there's like 10 different note-taking tools you can use as an example. And I could recommend you 5 right here, but, and it's more just knowing there is an AI tool for that. And actually there is a site called There's an AI tool for that. And there's already, almost 500,000 AI tools out in there, and you could just put what you want to achieve and it does it. Yeah, I would definitely just start with education and following a few things. And then the key tools to use for me are ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Claude. And then Google Gemini is really ramping up what you can use if you're a bit of a Google user versus Microsoft. Google Gemini has advanced that what you can do with Google Gemini now is absolutely amazing, and it connects to your Google Drive. It is phenomenal. And I know Microsoft Copilot is, producing quite a lot of things as well. So just daily exploration of the education of AI.
Daily exploration. Fantastic. And thank you for sharing all those tips and tricks and things to try out. I think our listeners will find that quite useful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Marnie, for sharing your expertise today. I really do appreciate it. I feel like we could go on and on and on, and I have tons of questions, but maybe there's a version 2 of this episode, of this podcast, episode 2. Fantastic.
Sounds great. And thank you so much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure, and best of luck with your workshops and all the training you're doing to help business owners and leaders to get that work-life balance and just augment and lift themselves up utilizing AI. So thank you for that. And thank you, Marnie. And thanks to all the listeners for tuning in to this episode of the Dhosjan Show. It's been absolutely fantastic to have Marnie Wills talk about using AI to augment your business potential, how artificial intelligence can help you get your life back. And also, I love those amazing tips on balancing AI, and also they're talking about how does the human touch get involved in it as well. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with a fellow entrepreneur or team member or colleague. And don't forget to subscribe to the Dhosjan Show for more insights, strategies, and stories to help you launch, grow, and scale your business. If you want to learn more about how we can support you, get in touch by going to our website at biainnovate.com. That's biainnovate.com. I'd love to hear more about how you're using AI in your personal and professional life and any other business challenges that you're facing. Until next time, keep pushing boundaries and keep embracing innovation.